World Chess Championship 2024, game number 14, the final classical game. The winner of this game takes it all. If it's a draw, it goes into tie breaks. I am in complete shock with how this game finishes. I don't understand how this happened, so you must watch until the very end. The blunder happens at the end of the game. We see knight f3, a ready opening again by Ding, d5, g3, c5, bishop g2, king's Indian attack set up. Knight c6, d4, e6, castle, c takes d, knight takes d4. And now we reach what's called a reversed Grunfeld. And here Gukesh with the black pieces plays knight g to e7. This is the first new move in the position. He's using the kingside knight to defend the queenside knight. Normally we see bishop c5, knight takes c6, b takes c6, c4. And this leads us to the reversed Grunfeld pawn structure. So first new wrinkle comes from Gukesh D. On to c4 after a 12-minute think. The first long think of the game. Ding is probably out of book at this point with the new novelty. Knight e7, knight takes d4, queen takes d4, knight c6, queen d1. And I think Ding should be happy with this opening. He just reached a comfortable, tiny advantage with the white pieces. d4, and Gukesh grabs space. This is one of the themes of the match. Gukesh loves pushing his pawns. He loves having extra space. And this pawn does a nice job defending the c3 square from the knight. e3, Ding wants to trade that guy off. Bishop c5, e takes d, 18-minute think, and he eliminates the pawn. Bishop takes d4, knight c3. Gukesh finally castles on move number 12. Knight to b5, hitting the bishop and threatening bishop takes c6 first, followed by knight takes d4, winning a piece. Now we see the first kind of big think from Gukesh. He did spend 7 minutes on bringing the bishop to c5. This was a 13-minute think. Bishop back to b6. Pawn to b3. And we've seen that Ding likes these moves in the past. Bishop to a3, getting on that nice diagonal now that that bishop is over on b6. So the bishop is not on c5, which would help control the a3 square. Okay, a6, knight c3, bishop d4, pinning the knight. Bishop to b2. e5 by Gukesh, freeing his last minor piece. Queen d2, bishop e6, knight d5. And here Ding starts to offer some trades. This is something that he's done in the previous games. Ding likes trading, and he likes playing for the draw. So that's kind of what he's going for here. I think he just wants to start simplifying, and hopefully there's not much going on in the position for Gukesh to play for the win, and he can head to tie breaks and play for the win there. Pawn to b5. An interesting choice by Gukesh and a strong move. He has two queenside pawns to Ding Loren's 3, and what can happen is if you trade 2 pawns for 2 pawns, the remaining 1 white pawn in the end could become a weakness. So I like this idea. C takes b, a takes b, and here we see the pawn on a2 is under pressure. This is going to matter in terms of the result of the game, as we're going to see. Knight to f4. Clever idea. The knight's attacked by a pawn, but it opens up the bishop attacking c6. And really, this is just a way for Ding to offer trades, right? Look at all these trade offers. The queens are still on the same file. Ding, I think, just wants to simplify this position. Head home early. E takes f4, or maybe I should say head to the hotel early. He doesn't want to head home early. Spoiler alert. E takes f4, bishop takes c6, bishop takes b2, queen takes b2. The rook moves off of a8. Rook f to d1, hitting the queen. Queen b6, bishop back to f3. F takes g, h takes g. The dust settles. We have a queen each, 2 rooks each, a bishop each, and 4 pawns each. But there is this dynamic of 2 versus 1 on the queen side and 3 versus 2 on the king side, and same colored bishops, which can sometimes lead to more decisive results than if they were opposite colored bishops. Pawn to b4, pawn to a4, and I don't love this decision by Ding. He is essentially saying, I am fine gambiting this b pawn in the end, right? En passant is going to happen here, which it does. And he's saying, I am fine gambiting this b pawn to play for a draw and to get more trades. So he is willing to go down a pawn again to reach a drawn position. Now, bishop takes b3 can't immediately be played. I think it was rook to d3 was the reason why. Oh, no, sorry. Rook to b1 because the bishop gets pinned to the queen. So he can't immediately do that. He plays g6. And here, Ding offers the queen trade, right? He wants that draw. But now the queen trade does give up the pawn because there's queen takes queen, rook takes back, and then either bishop or rook can capture that pawn on b3 next. Instead, queen to b5 played by Gukesh. He wants to play for the win. And look what Ding does. He says, I'm going to just throw this pawn up on b4 and you can take it for free on b4, but you have to trade queens with me. So now essentially Gukesh has to trade queens to play for the win. He has to get his free pawn here. Queen takes, rook takes, and now this should be a draw with best play. But one player is going to throw this game away, and it's going to be a decisive result. And Gukesh here is happy to be up one pawn and to push for the win. Rook to a8, offering another trade. Takes, takes. g5, bishop d5, offering another trade. And if the bishops trade here, and we reach this rook and pawn endgame, this is a very easy draw for super GMs. One rook each, 3 pawns versus 2 on the same side of the board. Easy draw. So Gukesh says, nope, I'm going to play bishop to f5 instead. Rook to c1, king g7, rook c7. And Ding is doing a good job putting some pressure on Gukesh, trying to make him play passively. Rook c4, Ding wants that draw. Rook to b1 check, king g2, rook e1, rook b4, h5. And I like what Gukesh is doing. He's trying to advance these pawns, give himself the best chances to put some tough questions on Ding. You know, the further advanced these pawns get, the more dangerous they can become for white. Rook back to e5, bishop f3, king h6, king g1. We are at move 41 now, so the player's got a bonus 30 minutes. Rook e6, rook c4, g4, and that takes away some squares of the bishop. Bishop back to d5, the rook moves, bishop b7, king g5, f3, f5, and I like how Gukesh is playing this, because now that the f-pawn moved up, it feels a little bit passive for Ding, right? This black rook can come down to the second, cut off the white king. This king is pretty far advanced. So I think Gukesh is doing a good job of maximizing his chances to get the win in this game. F takes g, h takes g. Now, in this position, if we take the rooks off the board, it is still a table-based draw. And table bases are positions where chess is completely solved. So once you get down to like 7 pieces on the board or less, chess is completely solved with best play. And doesn't mean that the players won't make a mistake. But I plug this into the table base, rooks off the board. This position is a draw with best play. Rook to b4, bishop f7, king f2, rook d2 check, king back to g1, king f6, rook b6 check, king g5, rook b4. The players repeat once. Can Gukesh figure out a way to push for the win? What Ding Liren is trying to do here is he's setting up a fortress. The g-pawn and the rook guard this f4 square. This rook can kind of come back and forth on the 4th rank if needed. And then this bishop does a nice job cutting through here, defending the f3 square. And this king wants to just walk back and forth, g1 or g2. And it's very difficult for Gukesh to figure out a way to make progress here. Bishop e6, rook a4, rook b2, bishop a8, king f6, rook f4, king e5. So it looks like Gukesh is trying to improve. He's trying to get the king in. But notice how this pawn guards f4, this bishop guards e4, and the rook currently defends the rest of the 4th rank. So how is this black king going to penetrate into white's position? Rook to f2. And he I don't know how to explain this. He offers the rook trade. In this position, though, offering the rook trade is a forced loss. He just needs to go one move deeper. Rook takes f2, king takes f2, bishop d5. That bishop is trapped, and it's a winning king and pawn endgame. Ding throws away the game in one move. I don't know how this is possible. He's throwing away the World Championship title in a basic endgame, king and pawn endgame. How did he miss this? To me, it's natural to play rook a4. Keep the rook on the 4th rank. I don't know what he's afraid of. This king cannot move forward. If rook d2, now all he has to do is get his bishop off this a8 square, and he can have the rook trade. So for example, bishop b7, rook d4, trade those rooks, play king f2. Now bishop d5, this bishop moves. Dead draw. There is zero chance for black to make any progress here. But going back to the game, rook f2, rook takes f2 played, king takes f2, bishop d5, brilliant move, easy move for these guys, forces this bishop trade. Bishop takes, king takes, and now it's a winning king and pawn endgame. The problem is this king can outmaneuver this king using opposition and outflanking, and this one pawn is either going to drop or this king has to vacate the pawns. This pawn pushes and black gets a queen. King e3, king e5. And it's over. Resignation by Ding Liren. Game 7 is over. Gukesh gets the opposition. Forced win. Match is over. Now let's recap this quickly. This game, I think, was the perfect ending to the match because honestly, it matches what has happened all match long. Ding Liren plays for draws to the extent that he burns time on the clock. He offers trades. He's repeatedly offered trade. Gukesh D has tried to keep this whole match interesting. He's tried to play for wins in many positions, often falls short with Ding Liren's defense. But in this case, Ding Liren's strategy for this whole match of playing for draws has backfired. He tried so hard to play for a draw here. He went down that pawn, and it was a trade in the end that he offered another trade that ended up burning him and losing him the match. So I'm glad Gukesh D won. We have a new world champion. I think he's going to be an exciting world championship champion, the youngest world champion ever. And I'm very excited to see who challenges Gukesh D next. What a match, guys. I don't even know what else to say. I am in shock. Let me know, what do you think of this game in the comments? And are you happy to see the new World Chess Championship, Gukesh D? Thanks for watching. It's been a fun match overall. I love Gukesh D's style, and I am definitely a new Gukesh D fan if I wasn't a new fan prior to the match. See you guys later.